So in the last session, we basically built our smart contract and added more functionality to it. We enabled users to be able to send NEAR back and forth. This includes guest. A guest can send funds to another guest. Mainnet account users can send funds to guest, and then guest can also send funds back to mainnet account users. So we didn't get a chance to properly test it end to end, so today we're going to focus mostly about testing it. So what are we going to do today? So I want to first deploy our smart contract, and we'll basically take a trip down memory lane to the API that we built in the previous sessions, where we can start registering new guests onto the brand new smart contract that we'll deploy, and then from then we'll use the NEAR CLI to test the sending of the NEAR token. Alright, so in order to deploy the smart contract, we want to make sure we're in the correct folder, and we are. I believe the command, that command is dev deploy, and all we need to do is first build. We want to first build. Where is this? How do we build? One second. Not a problem. Usually, the very first time we figure things out, we tend to make sure we put them into a build data set so we can just refer to it. So all we have to do is run build.sh. But before we run it, what's in here? So we're doing cargo build, and we're using the WASM 32 target, and we're taking everything and we're putting it into the output folder over here, and we will end up copying everything from the target where the original WASM file will be stored into the output folder. That's why we'll see that actually if I just delete both of these files, it'll get populated once the build is completed. So let's just do the build, take a better look at what's happening. So builds are always a little bit slow on Rust, so it's going to take a while. Yeah, so I don't know if the stream is choppy. It's just because my computer is working very hard to build this. Alright, so it looks like it has a few warnings, but for now we are going to ignore the warnings. At some point we'll come back and deal with these warnings, but they're not too important for what we're trying to do right now, and that is we want to deploy this. So I also have a script for the deploy, which I'm just going to copy and run it directly in the console. What this does is it creates a brand new testnet account with the following ID, and then it deploys our transaction. So if you click in the transaction over here, it should open it. I'm just going to copy it so that we can check it out in the browser. Yeah, and there we go. So a brand new transaction has been this transaction's been successful, and then a brand new account has been created. It's so brand new, there's nothing here. So we're going to come back here after working with it a little bit more. But we do want to save this account ID, and so we've done with the deploy. And what we want to do is we want to register the users using the API. For that, I'm going to jump over to the server project. I'm not going to open the environment file because it does have some secrets and I don't want to leak it. But what it's going to look like is what it's going to have is a set of account credentials, which will have the guest credentials. I'm curious now. Okay, 1 second. Let's just take a step back here because we want the guest account to be starting with so we want our guest account, well, deploy is not okay yet. We want the guest accounts to be started with guest dot the dev, but what we just did is created an account that's just dev, right? So what we will do is we will create a new account out of this dev account called guest, and then basically deploy it to this account. And I'm rambling a little bit. Let me just explain what I mean. So with NEAR, we can create a couple of accounts. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this as a template, and using the main account, we are going to create the guest sub account. Okay, and let's just go ahead and do that. Okay, cool. So looks like the guest sub account has been created. If we were to copy this and take a look in nearblocks.io, we need to switch over to the testnet. Now let's take a look if the account exists. I guess not. Let's just take a look if this account exists. It doesn't. It's interesting. Maybe we need to deploy the contract to it, so let's do that. So let's do dev deploy. Right. So instead of dev deploy, we can also use this deployment contract command. So guess that's the account ID, and then the file is coming from over here, which is guess dmechat. or here. So let's go ahead and do the deploy. Excellent. I'm just going to search for the transactions instead on the Explorer. Yeah, that's very weird. I think it must have something to do with the indexer. That's mostly with the NEAR blocks and the testnet. Sometimes it's a little bit finicky. But in any case, we do have our guest account. And it does have the fake 100 NEAR on it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to the server, and so I'm just going to replace the account ID with the guest account, and there is a public key and a private key, and they come from the JSON file that exists on my machine. So I'm going to quietly go away and update the account credentials with that JSON object. So just give me a second while I do that. Fantastic. So back to the server, we are going to rerun this application, and we're going to remove this. Just going to wait for the application to start up completely, and sorry about that, I still have a cough. It's one of those never-ending coughs. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted about the streaming issue, but I'm back now. So let's take a look at the server. So we do want to register. All right. So the way we want to register is let's close everything. But I guess not. Let's. So along with the contracts repo, I have something called the helpers folder, which just contains a couple of test code that basically takes the it just generates a seed, and it will create an account using that particular seed. So if you want to run this, all you have to do is go into that particular folder, which we can do right now. So let's go into helpers, crypto folder. You just have to run a node and then generate guest account. This if you don't provide it with parameters for the contract name and the prefix, it's just going to take whatever's default. We want to avoid using the default, so we are going to expect the prefix and the account ID to exist, and we're going to ask for that to be passed in, which is contract name and prefix. Prefix can be Alice because that's the account we want to create, and the account ID is going to be here, and that's the contract. So let's go ahead and create the signature along with the public key and a signed message. If you haven't had a chance to check out this file, it should be in the repo, but what it's basically doing is creating a key pair. It's basically creating a key pair, and it's signing a message, which is just the account ID, and the key is the account ID, and then the value is Alice dot prefix. Alice is the prefix, and then the contract name is coming in from the contract, so it's going to be Alice dot guest dot dev so and so so and so. And it's using the NEAR seed phrase package, which can take a seed phrase and return back a public key, secret, and a seed phrase. So that's kind of, I mean, behind the scenes, it's working. It's basically doing the ED25519 what is that called? Elliptic curve encryption. It's the yeah, it's the elliptic curve. Anyway, you could read more about it. Maybe I'll read more about it and I'll explain it a little bit better than right now impromptu. So, right. So we're console logging it, so it's easier for us to just grab that from the console and pasting it into our browser. We want to try it out. We want to create. We want to basically register. So let's go ahead and do that. Hopefully this will work. And that's great. So it was able to register an account. Let's double check if it was able to do that. We can refresh this page to see if there's a transaction. Yeah, so it looks like a guest was added just a few minutes ago. And we're going to do the same thing with Bob as a second account. All right. Where is it? Okay. So now we'll create Bob. All right. Looks like that was also successful. Great. So we can now start trying to figure out, like, we can basically now start talking to the smart contract and figure out the balance of both of these accounts. So what we can do is we can first get the guest, and the way to do that is using the NEAR CLI. Let's do this. Let's look at the documentation first. NEAR CLI call. Or actually, it's basically a view method, so we are going to do the view. and we can pass in the NEAR view. The account is here, and then we are calling in the method getGuest. But we need the public key. So what we're going to do is we'll jump over here, and we can copy over the public key. All right. So it was able to look at the public key, and it was able to return Bob as the public key, so that's great. So that's basically how you want to call view methods on the smart contract. And what we want to do now is we want to figure out how much NEAR an account has. So we're kind of doing the same thing, but we're going to say NEAR view the account name, so the contract name is the same, but we are now calling get account NEAR, and we're passing in a JSON payload that looks like the following, and we can copy the account name for Bob and enter it. We're expecting to see 0, so there is no NEAR in Bob's account. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to transfer NEAR. One second. Okay. I believe we're supposed to have made this method payable. The reason is that we are expecting funds to exist in this account, but because I haven't set it to payable, it might not expect a deposit to exist, and if that's the case, it will try to add $0 into that account. So we'll see what happens. So we can just try it. It's all debugging anyway. So we're doing NEAR call. The account ID is here, and we are calling the transfer NEAR function, and we're going to be passing in the account ID. That is Bob. And we're not passing any funds in this point, right? There is no attached deposit. So let's just see what happens. Missing argument account ID. Right, it needs to know. We're trying to send some funds, but it needs to know who's calling this method. So we need to set ID. For the sake of simplicity, we are just going to use the main transaction account, but it could really be anybody. It could just be any testnet account. But I know I have this account on my computer. The keys are there, so I'm just going to use this. So it looks like it is taking some time, and it's returning the brand new balance, which is 0. You haven't actually passed any funds into it, right? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to make this payable, and we're going to redeploy this account, and we're going to use the following, like basically this command. We're going to rebuild it. It's going to take a while, so we just have to wait. Oh, that's great. Didn't take that long. So now we can just deploy this. It already has a deploy contract. Do you want to proceed? Yes, I want to rewrite this. Perfect. So we overwrote that contract, Now if we go back in the history and we try to call the transfer near function without passing any without putting any deposit, let's see what happens. Oh, it looks like it didn't care. So let's see what Payable is supposed to do. Near request Payable. So Payable methods. Got it. So Payable just allows us to tell a smart contract that it can accept near, but it doesn't necessarily enforce it. So we are going to also attach a deposit. The way it is done, call function, and there it is. You can attach the amount. So you have the option to deposit in Yocto or deposit in amount, which is directly in near, which is definitely a lot easier. So we're going to do that. Amount is 0.1 near. Now, as you recall, we can't give it any more than 0.1 near, otherwise it's just going to fail. Let's try that. Let's just send it 0.25 near, and let's just see if this transaction succeeds. Yeah, so it looks like it panicked. It panicked on the fact that we cannot deposit more than 0.1 near in the guest account. So let's go back in here and let's just set this to 0.05 and then send some funds over. Okay, so it looks like we have a little bit of near. Go into the transactions and hopefully at this point, maybe near blocks was able to find it. Yeah, I guess not. Okay, no problem. So let's refresh. Okay, we have transferred some near, and we deposit 0.05 into the Bob account, and we got some results. Okay, so back on the guest account, we do have a little bit more funds added to it, which makes sense. So if we go back in the call history, we have a method here called get account near, and then you can pass in the account ID. So if we run this time around, we will expect to see the near tokens that are associated with Bob. In this case, it's in Yocto, that's why it's a really, really large number. But if you think about it in just near, it's 0.05 near. That's like a couple of cents maybe. Okay, so we're able to deposit funds into Bob's account. So what we want to do is we want to transfer funds between guests. So Bob has 0.05 near at this point. So and we want to make sure Alice currently has 0.0 near. We want to make sure Alice has 0.01. So we're going to send okay, so let's do that. Bob and Alice accounts don't exist on the NEAR network, so we can use their accounts to actually send this transaction. So the person that has to trigger this transaction has to be the guest account. So we will be calling that method using NEAR call. The guest account is the target, and we're calling transfer NEAR between a guest. We are going to set the payload. Amount balance. So the amount has to be in Yocto, I believe. So what we're doing, get account NEAR. Yeah, exactly. So the balance has to be in Yocto. So what we're going to do is just kind of copy this and set it here. I'm going to make it 0.1. So that should be the amount that we're intending to transfer. So we want to also set the to guest ID, which is Alice dot this contract address, and we are also setting the from account ID, sorry, the from guest ID to Bob dot guest account. So let's just see. Oh, that's right. It is also expecting you to pass in the account ID that is calling this particular transaction, and that is the guest account. Okay, so what happened? Unexpected number. Right, okay, so I think the fact that I passed it as a string was not helping the parser. So we'll try it again. Ah, yes. So I forgot to close this out. Let's try it again. So it's doing the function call now. It looks like it failed, and it failed because it was not able to parse the JSON. So let's see. So what could be the reason that this JSON would not be parsed? From guest ID to guest ID amount. Maybe I need to put the amount in a string. So we'll try that. Yeah, it looks like it failed again. Okay, so what we can do is, rather than trying to yeah, that makes sense. So let's see. Let's take a look at the test. Both accounts exist. We have the balance. C128. 1 second. Let's open a brand new console. and we're going to do going to node 5. What was that? We are looking for the e plus 22. Okay. So all right. I want to actually print out all zeros. Let's take this, and I'm just going to put that in here. 0. We're going to try it again. This time around, instead of using the exponentials, let us try to use a string, but we're going to decrease it. We only want to send a small amount, not all of it. So let's try it this way. Okay, looks like it failed to deserialize input from JSON. Invalid number. Let's try it this way. Let's try something that's friendly to Rust. All right. Obviously, if this doesn't work, I will have to come back and try to figure out what's up with the yeah, let me see if that's even a valid. All right, JSON validator. Validate JSON. Yeah, so it looks like it is a valid JSON. Even well, if I get rid of this, try to validate this JSON. Just passing this as a number. Does it actually? I guess it is. Okay. Can I try to pass that in as my output instead? So that means getting rid of the quotations. What if I try to send this with a different account ID? Is it even... Is that the same error message? Yeah, it's not able to deserialize input from JSON. Interesting. We're calling this contract, calling the method, we're passing in the object from guest ID to guest ID, amount. What if we remove the amount entirely? This is where it gets into like really boring debugging, just to see if it's able to even parse a portion of it correctly. And it looks like yeah, okay, so it's good. It's expecting the amount field to exist. Let me try it again. So this time around, instead of that amount, I'm just going to pass in a very small value. Let's see if it's able to parse it this time into a balance. What's going on here? Must be the owner ID. Ah, yes. Okay, so let's try it again. All right, what do we have here? Unable to transfer funds. Why is that? From guest ID, Bob. Amount to transfer. Oh, I see. Because it's less than the gas that was Alright, I'm just going to save this. I'm just going to rebuild this. And then we're going to redeploy. Ah, shoot. Yep, redeploy this contract, please. Great. So let's try to send this just one Yocto. And it's failing because, yeah, we're transferring less funds than the gas was spent. So so it's really the matter of the balance. Okay, so I'm just going to change this. I'm going to make this a float 16, doesn't exist. Okay, float 32, and it's going to accept so the amount is going to be in Yocto, and what we are going to do is we're going to convert that to amount in NEAR. Right, Yocto to NEAR is a method that doesn't exist, but it's going to exist in a second. It's going to be coming in from our utils. So we have a method that does NEAR to Yocto, so we need a method that does Yocto to NEAR, and that is going to Yocto to NEAR Lefto is an F 32-bit. So we need to multiply this by 24. No, we're multiplying it by 24. Should actually just beat division by this value. Division is not implemented. Okay. One second. Yeah. 10 to the power of 24. So what we need to do is we need to convert it. The problem is, well, yeah. So it's actually try to convert it from this one. So let's just take a look. How do you convert? Okay, you know what? In that case, I think that almost should be F 64-bit. Same thing over here. Actually, I made a mistake. Let's not worry about Yocto to NEAR right now because we don't really need it. We're just gonna transfer rounds in NEAR, and that is going to be all about converting NEAR into Yocto. So utils okay, and that's going to amount in NEAR. Now yeah. We're also breaking up a few of our tests. As you can see, there's a couple of errors down here. We're going to come back and fix it. And we also have to fix the fact that F64 cannot be converted to 128-bit. So Let's do a little research on that. So let's see, Rust convert F64 to U128. Okay, so I guess as U128 might work. Okay. Hopefully that will, if we deploy this again, we should be able to work with amounts in NEAR. And we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing over here. Instead of amounts in Yocto, we are going to pass in that. So NEAR amount. Well, that's still okay. So where is the failing test? It is, yes, NEAR to transfer. Right, just one balance. So I believe we want that to be there we go. Okay. All right. NEAR transfer. You can't actually do that, right? So oh, that is going to be bad. Crap. That's not right. You can't just convert this to 128. let me see. How do we convert near to Yocto? Let's see. There has to be a way to just do that. Come on, there's no util. And this might be actually useful. Let's see. One near is that, which is in Yocto. Oh, wait a second. We might just be able to. One Yocto is so and so. Okay. Alright. Amount in near. We're going to multiply it with one near. And we're going to import it from the Rust SDK. Get it anywhere. Is it there? It's not here. Oh. It should be there. I guess I need to use the latest SDK. Alright, let's go and upgrade to the latest SDK. I guess we're on the old SDK. Okay, let's do that. So the cool thing is now we may just be able to okay. Is it still building? Yeah, I guess it's still building. Okay, it's going to take a while. So what I was hoping to do is just go ahead and multiply this into one near, and then convert it to Yocto. But we can also do this as F64. We'll do the multiplication, and then we can say as 1U128. That should be okay, I believe. Let's go over now to the tests here. Yeah, it's not going to be happy about this. But we want to do the same thing. So actually, rather than doing this crazy multiplication, where did I do that? Oh, rather than the multiplication over here, we can create a method now called Yocto to near. And then that's basically over here. And Yocto is in F64. So we are going to multiply it with one near. And then we're going to call it a balance. And return basically that. So scrolling all the way up, we can import one near as well. So that's perfect. Hopefully it's perfect, but we'll see. Now I'm going to scroll over to the guest smart contract. We were looking at the transfer near between guests method. So we get the near in F64. We can convert it. There we go. Right, so we're going to call this amount just for making it easier. And then we're going to call this amount in Yocto. So subtracting the amount in Yocto, then you figure out the amount to transfer. Okay, so maybe it's looking a little bit more doable at this stage. So let's go ahead and fix our tests. What do we do here? We said near to transfer is oh yeah, that's exactly right. We want to transfer that in near, and it's asking for the near to transfer. Yeah, that's fine. What's the error? Right, that's probably because the analyzer is trying its best to figure out yeah, this is going to take a while. All right. Okay, cool. So it looks like I let the Rust analyzer do what it needed to do, and we are back in business, hopefully. Oh boy, not really, not even close. Looks like is view doesn't have a okay. Oh man, that is not what I was expecting to see. It just broke a bunch of stuff just because I upgraded to the latest. Okay, so I am going to comment out all of my tests. That'll save me a ton of fixes to do, and I'm going to slowly work my way down and try to figure out split once doesn't exist on the predecessor. Okay, predecessor is an account ID. So what exists here? As string? Can I then split once? Okay. owner ID. Okay, so I guess I have to make this a string as well. Hopefully now it's able to do it. Okay. It's able to equate. Hopefully it will be able to do that. Going to scroll down. Panic is deprecated. We want to use panic string. Okay. Let's do that. Let's keep the API happy. We are just sending it the string. Same thing over here. Okay. All right. So far so good. It's recommended we use public key. All right. Sure. Public key. It's pretty cool. There's a new public key that's new format that's supported. Maybe we'll spend a little bit of time learning more about it. Okay. The valid keys in this format, which is correct. All right. So let's keep going down. Before we fix the errors, let's just see if there's something we can do with. Okay, we want to use log string. Okay. And it probably doesn't want the bytes. Okay. All right. What are the errors? Yeah, so we are not trying to cast it into any number. We're going to take F64, give it U128. What is gas? Gas is the used gas. Okay, so can we not? U64. Right. Yeah, I guess I could just do that here. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's loud. I wish I could edit that cough out. That was probably sounding very bad. Sorry if you heard it. Okay, so if we can just get gas to EU128, I don't have to jump through these crazy hoops over here. And then, yeah, it doesn't want to convert. That's fine. You can just do, yeah, so just jump through whatever necessary hoops for the compiler. Same thing over here. Alright, so that leaves one more test. Okay, function call. Awesome. So they changed this so that it's no longer a vector of characters, it's going to be a string. Okay. Great. Okay, cool. Then what I can do is gas or I can just do, can I just do that? Yeah, let's import gas and it's not happy. Okay, let's try this. As from is that acceptable? Looks like it is. Great. All right, let's fix that one other error. We have to account ID. It's not being used. What? Near from guest. Okay, that's the account. We have I'm going to send it from the guest to a non. Right. So I think we want to transfer promise. Yeah, I'm just gonna double check. Maybe I misunderstood. Your SDK. Can I search promise? Got it. So it looks like we can set to account ID and then transfer the amount. Okay, that's what we have here. I'm not going to dare to uncomment these tests for now. Because I think that's probably going to take a lot of time to try to figure out what could be wrong. So for now, we're just going to redeploy. Well, we're going to first build it. And it's probably going to take a while because we upgraded the package. Yeah, we upgraded the NEAR SDK from version 3 to version 4. That's a big upgrade. Okay, so we built it. Let's go ahead and try to deploy it. It's going to ask us if we want to redeploy. We say yes. Great. So after all of the jumping of hoops, we're going to come back to testing the transfers between accounts. So the near we want to send is 0.01. 0.01. Yeah. All right. So from Bob to Alice, let's send 0.01 near, and the signer is the actual guest account. Okay. So it looks like not the exact amount was transferred over, and the reason is that for these transfer to happen, that smart contract is spending some gas, and we don't want the gas amount to be drained from the account per se. So if I want to send one near, not an entire near is going to go to that guest account. The gas that was spent is going to be kept. Maybe in the future there may be a little bit of a fee that's kept, but for now it's trying to be as generous as possible by only holding on to the gas that was spent. A fee would be ideal, because technically what's happening is when you call this method over here, transfer in between guests, we ask for the gas at this point in time. It's still spending gas for these two steps. So we're probably taking less gas than what was actually spent in the end. But we can come back and fix this. But right now we don't have to really do anything about it. To make it a fee instead, because more gas is spent in the lines below. It's just not exact. Okay, so we want to now call another method. So near view on this contract, get account near, and we want to pass it the account ID. Alice. It's this one. Oh man. Okay. Well. So hopefully we'll get. Yeah, there we go. So we know exactly how much is in Alice's account. We'll do the same thing with Bob's account. Yeah. So it looks like 0.01 near was removed from Bob's account. So far, so good. What we want to do now is we want to send the same amount, 0.01 near, from Bob's account to an actual testnet account. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's going to look something like, so Bob has 0.04 now. And we want to send Bob 0.01 near from Bob to, yeah, we can just send it to the master account just for fun. All right, so what's that going to look like? It's going to be near call, no, yeah, it's call, we want the account ID. Oops. Oh, come on. Right. And we want to say the method is transfer near from guest, and we want to pass in our parameters from the guest ID. It's Bob. Let's copy it over from over here. Oh. There. To account ID. To account ID is right here. And the amount is going to be 0.01. So we do also want to go ahead and fix this. So it used to be, we want to send it F64, and this is the amount, right? So it's supposed to be amount in Yocto. So amount in Yocto. Sorry about that. The cough is insane. I had to go get a cough drop. Hopefully that'll just keep the coughs at bay for now. All right, so we don't have an amount in Yocto because we have to figure out what it is. So amount in Yocto is utils near to Yocto or is it Yocto to near? Oh man, okay, sorry guys. It's actually the same thing. Yocto to near to Yocto. I might just comment this out entirely because this is actually near to Yocto. Except it's expecting the amount to multiply it into 1 year. That's going to cause a few issues. Near to Yocto, because that's what it is. Amount is always in near. Near converted to Yocto for math, and the same thing near to Yocto, and that's going to be the amount. There it is, utils. Util. Oh, that's right. It's util. Maybe I should have named it utils, but it's too late now. All right, let's build our smart contract again, and then we're going to deploy it. Yes, please. Okay. All right, let's double check what Bob has. What has Bob? No, we want to see what Bob has, and then we're going to try to call the guest contract, the method transfer near from the guest, who is Bob, to an actual account, this amount. But because it needs to be signed, we have to say account ID is the guest account ID. So let's try it out. What is a new balance? Okay, let's take a look at the actual transaction. Do we have the transaction ID somewhere? Well, we have the receipt, so we can use that. Okay. Let us look at the receipt ID. So it's in this transaction. Unwrapped. Right. Well, the transaction failed. Wait, what is this transaction? Oh yeah, we found a transaction. We want to send the funds to this account. Result.unwrapped. U128 is not supported. Over here. Okay. JSON. The new balance. Curious. Value. So I think we need to check out. Let's close everything else. Well, everything to the right. Okay. There we go. Arbitrary precision. How do we do that? Okay. Can I do that? Okay. Value needs to be imported. All right. From. It's not required. Just gonna leave it for now. Okay. So that is not helping. Okay. Right. Okay. It looks. Man. Okay. So. This is pretty bad. I'm just gonna put a comment on this. How to avoid as 64. Because I don't think it's able to parse that value. That's why we're getting the error. So we're just going to go ahead and redeploy this. Of course, we have to build it. You know what we'll do? We'll do it all in one go. Yes. Okay. So now that it's run redeploying, we are going to try again to transfer the funds. It might not work, but yeah, it failed. Exceeded the prepaid gas. Uh-oh, okay. So let's take a look at the transaction. So the standard way to deal with this is to just give it less gas, and it's counterintuitive, but it just helps. Just try it out. Sometimes it just solves your problem. Okay, so did that fail again? It looks like so. Okay. It's possible we just gave it very little gas, so we'll try to give it some more gas this time around. Just copy this, paste it here. Just give it more gas. And hopefully, the problem with cross-contract calls, it does just need a lot more gas for that to go through. Exceeded the prepaid gas. Ah, interesting. So we gave it this much gas, but we used this much gas. Aha. Okay. So that is good. Were we getting that error before? Oh, it looks like we were. We gave it this much gas, but we used this much gas. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, so we'll just give it a little bit more gas then. Enough to cover it. And I also believe we may have to... okay, we'll see. We might have to change this, but let's not worry about it right now. Okay, exceeded the prepaid gas. So far what's happening is we are just transferring funds to... Well, let's just see if we still have the amount of funds on Bob's account. Okay, so we still have funds in Bob's account, and I don't think we would have sent funds into the test account, but we'll just try it. We'll just double check that right now. So let's go over to the guest account. We'll see if it looks like we are transferring. Yeah, we are transferring funds into this account, but we're failing on the prepaid gas. So let's just browse the internet together. Let's see what their message means. Okay. So let's just give it way more. Just give it a ton of gas. So let's go in here. Oh, that didn't save. So let's copy. All right. So let's give it a lot of gas. Hopefully it should be enough for that transaction to go through. It is still not happy. Okay. So I wonder if we have to just give it a little bit more gas over here. So let's just go and give it a little bit more gas. And we are going to redeploy. Okay, looks like it succeeded. Let's take a look at Bob's account. Oops. Sorry. On transfer completed. That's the new balance. We're setting the new balance in Bob's account. Now this is what I was worried about. I was wondering if this would cause us to lose some value, which we may be losing. Yeah, it's possible. Let's see if Bob is still able to transfer 0.1 NEAR back to Alice. So I'm going to jump up in my console history to find that particular command. Yeah, so we were sending 0.1 NEAR. So if this succeeds, then that's really not what I was looking for, because Bob had Bob had 0.04 NEAR, and after this, looks like we have entered the wrong value. So yeah, unable to transfer funds. So I think we just messed up when we did this conversion. So what we're gonna do, instead of this new balance being U64, we are going to convert this to, can we do F64? Okay, so what we want to do then is Yocto to NEAR. All right. Okay. NEAR call this account. We're just going to give Bob a little bit more funds. So what was the method we were using? It's called transfer NEAR. Transfer NEAR. Account ID is Bob. All right. Oops. Okay. Transfer NEAR. Gas. So I think this needs the account ID and it needs the amount. Send a half a NEAR. 0.05 NEAR. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we definitely messed it up. It looks like we dropped several. We just didn't transfer that correctly. Or it's possible that there was just too much gas that was required in that transaction. Let's just take a look at the transaction itself, and maybe there's going to be some insight into what could have happened. So this was the guest account, and we are looking at transfer NEAR from guest. And if we open this, it's the transaction fee, and there's a gas used. We attached a lot of gas to that one. Well, the transaction fee is not part of this, but this little gas burned. Well, it's just burning that gas, so that's not a big deal. It's how much did we want to spend? We wanted to send 0.01, and we did send the system is sending it back. No. Yeah, we sent that, and then we had a little. We must have had a little tokens burned. It's a new balance. Oh, that's what it should not be. Okay. Because I think we must have redeployed the app. So what we can do is we can try again to call the NEAR transfer from guest. We're going to send in 0.01 NEAR this time around. And then we can't do this test right now because the new balance is F64. So this has to be F64, and then we have to convert this to Yocto new balance Yocto let balance Yocto equals util NEAR to Yocto new balance. Hopefully that should help set things correct. So let's just double check the amount in Bob's account. Yep, that's 0.05 NEAR and a little bit of dust. So we are going to redeploy this contract. Say yes to the redeploy. We are going to send funds from Bob to an existing account, and that's 0.01 NEAR. There should be enough in Bob's account to cover this. So let's send it over. All right, so it looks like it passed. Now let's double check what's in Bob's account. There we go. So now we have the right amount. So it's just that it looks like converting if you just convert to i64 or f64 directly, it just doesn't seem to work. So we have to jump through a little bit of hoops to make sure that we are accurately converting our funds. So it used to be on Bob's account, we had this much funds, and now after the transfer we've got this much funds, and it looks like exact amount has been reduced from Bob's account. So okay, so that looks like we actually have transfers happening between the accounts. So that's kind of how you want to test it, but you shouldn't always trust it. So there's always ways where like it's possible bugs exist, and every time you're converting between data types, especially scaling down from U128 to lesser bite-sized numbers, it could lead to problems. And I still don't trust this to be like 100% secure, so I'm just going to add a few to-dos just simply around the conversion of Yocto. The answer to that is I don't know if it's safe to just convert in this manner for any type of value that you get. So there may be some gotchas that we need to be aware of. I'm going to research it off camera, and we'll just come back in the future at some point to yeah, we'll come back to this in the future as I learn more stuff. All right, so I know we originally planned for NFTs to be sent on this guest contract. I'm not going to do that. I'm also not going to do the fungible token transfer. I think that's overkill for what we have right now. We were able to speak to a developer who was able to get UI skins for the mobile app done. So I'm going to take those skins, I'm going to start getting into the mobile app and basically start building different features powered by the server. So creating the chat rooms, sending the messages, and basically starting to build the whole messaging functionality. We have enough in terms of funds being sent between the accounts, at least for now. So we'll put a pause on the sending NFTs between the users. We're gonna we'll come back to this at a later stage. All right, that's it.